Oh, hey campers, I was just admiring the view here in Beaver, Washington. This is Darren with My RV Works. Today, guess what we have for you to another refrigerator. Stand by because we're going to be having a whole bunch of refrigerator videos coming out. Now this one is a Norcold 1200 and we're getting that NoCo error right away on that eyebrow board. I mean, you put it on automatic and just right out of the gate, it's showing NoCo. So I want to take you on my journey as I try to troubleshoot this, and I'm going to start at the very beginning on how I troubleshoot. Sometimes when I do these videos, I kind of assume you might know some things, but I've been reading a lot of comments from folks, and what I'm going to do now is really bring you through my mind on how I'm going to troubleshoot this thing. So let's go have some fun. Now here's the thing. I need to know certain things about this control board. I need to know certain things about this refrigerator. A, is it getting 120 volts? B, is it getting 12 volts? These are the things that I must know first before I can begin troubleshooting. So I can take my meter, I can put it on an AC, okay? Let me get it to stay right there, okay? So I'm on AC right here. I'm gonna pull this out just a little bit, and I'm gonna take my black lead and I'm gonna reference the frame of the refrigerator. Why am I referencing the frame of the refrigerator, Darren? Because that's what the refrigerator was referencing. So I wanna make sure that the refrigerator itself has a good ground. And then I'm going to touch the side of the prong to verify that I have 120 volts coming in. And I do. I have 120.7. Okay. So I know that my receptacle's good. Now right in here, this glass fuse on this Norcold 1200, they have different control boards. I'm going to have, there you go, 120 volts on that side of my fuse, 120 volts on that side of my fuse. Okay. Now, the refrigerator is warm. Therefore, if I put it in auto mode and it has access to gas or AC, gas is going to be the primary heating source. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Electric. The electric heating element is going to be the primary heating source. So let me show you what these electric heating elements look like. I've got another video where I go into details, but let's just stay right here with me. Come in a little closer. These cords, this particular refrigerator has two heating elements, okay? So a black and a yellow make one heating element, a black and a yellow make the other one. And if you follow them around up over here, this is the top of the heating element right there, okay? These two wires, that is your electric heating element right there, okay? Now we're gonna be checking those in just a second. But another thing I noticed on this refrigerator is look at how they put the recall kit on. This is the recall kit. Make sure this is a Rev E, A, B, C, D, E. So it's a new Rev. But whoever put this cooling unit on, they didn't tape this back up. So in order to put the recall kit on, you do need to access to this area. But the customer states that this is how this was. It's just flapping around like that. That's never going to work. Your refrigerator's never going to work very well. This needs to be taped back up. So when we're all done here, we're going to have to tape this back up. So go look at yours, at your homework assignment. One of your homework assignments is to make sure that your boiler is taped up really, really well right here. Okay. So we're going to pull that apart just to make a note to self. Now we're going to follow our trail of 120. Now, like I said, when I have both gas and electric available, the control board is going to favor electric. Therefore, if I take electric away, right there, I just took it away. What I expect to happen is I should hear within about now, I should hear a tick sound. I should hear this gas solenoid open, and I should hear a tick, tick, tick sound on here. And about at this point, the gas should be running, but it's not running. Okay. So therefore, we're going to plug this back in. I know I have 120 going into my board. So the next question is, do I have 120 going through my heating elements? Okay. It's looking very suspicious, like this control board might be at fault. So again, I'm going to reference frame, and I'm going to take this other meter on AC, and I'm going to probe right there in the yellow, right where it comes out, and I have 0 volts. And on this one, I have 0 volts. But on the fuse, I have 120. This relay right here is a relay that turns on the power, lets the power pass through, and turns on these heating elements. I have seen where these relays go bad. And I don't know if you want to zoom in, but on this little chip right here, this IC chip, he's got some green corrosion action going on with him. So that doesn't look very healthy. And there may be even a little bit of discoloration right in here on this large capacitor. Is that what that is? That's a resistor. Yeah, I get my names mixed up. So there's a little bit of dark discoloration on next to that diode, next to this resistor, and there's some green chiclet stuff, green chunky stuff on these legs off of that IC. So this board might be defective. We're giving it 120. 120 is passing through, but we're not getting 120 on our heating elements. So the next thing I'm going to do is check my heating elements, and we're going to use Ohm's law for that. And so I'm going to unplug them, and we're going to stick the meters in there. We expect to get, what, about 40 ohms or something like that. We'll do Ohm's law. We'll actually go through that and show you what the numbers are supposed to be. And but the other problem is when I unplug this refrigerator, it's almost like unplugging from shore power. We know the refrigerator's on auto. I expect this thing to go into gas, and it's not. So next I want to check my heating element, because the last thing I'm going to do is put a new board in there and then recreate the same problem again. So I want to make sure that all my inputs are okay. But this board looks like he's got some corrosion and there's some damage in there. Okay, so next let's get reset. Let's check our ohms resistance on our heating elements. Okay folks, so what I've done is I've unplugged from AC, and I've pulled out my heating elements because I want to verify that my heating elements are perfect, that they're right. Okay, now just for show and tell, that's a heating element. I went to my service trailer and picked up a heating element. Okay, so remember we looked earlier and we had that yellow and black wire. Now on the heating element itself, it's going to tell us how many watts. This one is the spec for this refrigerator. This tells me I am 235 watts at 120 volts. So if we do Ohm's law, let's see, you take 120 times, carry the 1, remainder of that, square root of that, you're going to get about 61 ohms on Ohm's law. So Ohm's law is you take the watts, 235, and you divide it by the voltage, 120, giving you amperage. Well, then you got to do Watt's law, power law. Anyway, they have an app for that. So there's an app, you can just download it, enter the knowns, and then it'll give you the thing. What I expect to find on these wires is plus or minus 60 ohms. Got it? So I've got my meter set to ohms, and I'm just going to stick a meter. Polarity does not matter, it doesn't matter which color you stick in there. And I've got 59.6 ohms. That's plus or minus 60. So this one's good. Okay. And now I'm going to check this guy right here. Meter's there. 60 ohms, 60.1. So these two heating elements are fine. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit of an undocumented feature here. This is not any manual. It's one of these things where you didn't hear it from me kind of thing, but this might save the day. Very short-term emergency type situation. So let's say you have some food in your refrigerator, you're camping, and all of a sudden your control board goes out. Okay, you're really in a bind. This is like a MacGyver type situation. You've got to figure out a way to keep your refrigerator cold, and the control board's just not working. There's things on the refrigerator that are not working. As long as you're, again, wink, 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 wink. Again, this is very privileged information. Do not abuse this. Don't go out doing this. So this is only in an emergency situation, what I'm about to tell you. I'm hesitating even to tell you. I know I'm going to probably get some comments telling people I shouldn't say this, but I'm just trying to make you save your camping trip so that you can get this fixed within a day. These are heating elements, okay? 120 volt appliance. This thing glows red hot. He fits inside of the boiler. Take an extension cord, cut off the end, stick them in here, plug the extension cord in. You now have your refrigerator up and running again. There's your solution. There it is. That was it. I just said it. Oh my gosh. Now they're going to take me away in a straitjacket because I ruin people. But I only say that because if you're in a really bad situation and you've got to, you're like a day or two away from home, and your refrigerator just decides to poop in the punch and it's not going to work with you, and you're about to ruin all this food, just put on an extension cord, plug these in. Now your refrigerator is not going to know to turn itself off. It's just going to go all on. And so you're going to have to keep an eye on this, plugging your extension cord in, unplugging it, plugging it in, unplugging it. But it will limp you home. Okay, so now back to the main video. I now know that my heating element is correct. Okay, I know that I have 120 volts. I've also checked that I have 13 volts. So the next thing, at this point, I'm very suspicious that this control board's bad. We looked at the green corroded stuff. There's a little bit of a discoloration on the back of this board here. And because he's going into NoCo right out of the gate, tells me that there's probably really is seriously something wrong with this control board. So how do you go about finding a new control board? Now, what I'm going to do on this older Norcold, this is an older Norcold, it's not under warranty, not under anything. I'm going to use a Dinosaur board, and walk with me as I try to figure out how to determine which board to use for this Norcold, okay? The first thing you're going to need to know is your refrigerator model number and serial number of the refrigerator. Now that's located inside the door. So you open up your door and you're going to see serial number and model number. Okay, now you're going to need an exploded view. If you go to our website, myrviewworks.com, go to the resources tab, and then I've got a lot of manuals on there that you can download and get this kind of exploded view information out. This is like a little cheat sheet for me that I carry with my service trailer. It's got a bunch of stuff in it, but you can get yours online with us. So what we're looking for is this number 2 item right here. This is the control board. And if you look here, number 2 has 1, 2, 3 possible selections. And the one you pick has everything to do with the serial number. Okay, that's the key. That's why you need to know the serial number. Now, the serial number for this unit is 1,288,000 and change. So I go down here and you'll look, this is the part where you really got to be careful. Here it starts at 8 million. You see I put commas in here. And so what we've done is we've taken a moment and we've found the serial number for, I'm sorry, the part number based on the serial number of the refrigerator. And it turns out that it's this long number right here. The next thing I do, if I can find my, okay, got a Dinosaur Electronics book. So now we know the part number. We're done with that. Now, this is Dinosaur Electronics. Okay, it's an older catalog, but this is an older refrigerator. So, and we know the part number, and I think it's this part number right here. So we need this 6212XX board, and there are all these 16 different part numbers, and we've found it over here. Therefore, based on the serial number of the refrigerator, based on the part number that serial number calls for, we now have a Dinosaur board right here that it calls for. So we have the Dinosaur board. The next thing you do is on your sheet that comes with Dinosaur, you find your part number in the replacing Norcold part number, and you determine which jumper position that part number belongs to. Then you go to your board and you move that jumper. Ergo, you've just taken this generic board that will cover 16 different boards, and because that jumper, you know that this is the board that'll work in that refrigerator with that serial number. Okay, a lot of steps, but it all starts with knowing, that whole process started with knowing the serial number and the model number of this refrigerator. This is Norcold 1200, serial number 1,200,000, blah, blah, blah. We had to find that in our book and then find out which board we worked on. And you can't just put the board in, you then have to know the jumper. And Dinosaur does a very good job with the paperwork, okay? Now, another thing on the Dinosaur, even though this is an older coach, older refrigerator, it does come with a 3-year warranty, which is great for these older refrigerators, okay? So you need to document all your work and fill out the card, and on the card it's got the serial number, but yay, so that's a victory for getting your refrigerator fixed if you have an older one. Now, if you have a newer one, go with the warranty from your from Norcold or Dematic or whoever you have. But after warranty, you might want to consider a Dinosaur. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to be installing this board into here, and we'll set you up and you'll see how I do that. I have a couple little fancy tools that I'm going to use to help me out a lot. And we're going to put this in, and then hopefully that'll fix the whole thing and we can make a happy camper. So that'll be the next phase. So I wanted to show you how I troubleshot that. I am of the opinion that it's a board, and I kind of carried you through on that. And then we showed you how to find the board, and then once you find the board, how to make it be that board. Okay, so next, let's put this board in. All right. First, let's unplug power, and I'm also going to reach in here. Now, here's a fancy tool I like. It's this little right-angled hook. I'm going to use it to pry off things. I've got my power off, right? So I'm going to use this to pry off the back of it, and that pulls it off. And it doesn't, so what I did was I kind of grabbed it here and kind of did a little bit of a right angle twist on it. It's all on the wrist there. And then we can unplug this. So again, I don't want to hurt the board. I'm just going to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Now this guy's getting me a little stubborn. There we go. Okay. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to just go in there and start ripping wires out, okay? Because it's the analogy of changing a spark plug, okay? You do one wire at a time is how I approach this. And the ones that are obvious to me, I'm going to go ahead and grab those. Here's my electrode for the gas. He's pretty obvious where he goes. And so over here, this was the AC. These are the heating elements. Pretty obviously where there goes. But these other ones, maybe not so obvious. Okay, so we need to be a little bit more methodical on how we go about taking those off. So I'm going to grab a little 1/4 inch drive here, take the board out with these wires still connected. Okay, so yep, 1/4 inch. Okay. All right, I'm just going to manually do it. This is for the ice maker. I'm going to get him out of the way, and we're just going to we'll be reusing these, and they got the go. Now what I'm wanting to do is I want to get this card out and the new card in, and then I'm going to transfer my wires. Make sense? Okay, all the card is out of the way. Wires are still attached. Now on these Dinosaur boards, the wires are the same. Not all of them though, so you do need to be advised. But on this particular board, they are all the same. So this thing's being hateful. So not only is he ruining the trip, but he doesn't want to be replaced either. And let me also mention this. On some of your refrigerators, you actually might need to pull the refrigerator forward a couple inches just to gain access to some of this stuff. So don't be surprised if you have to do that too. Okay, new board is installed. Now, I've got a white wire way over here on the right. Here's where I'm going to take my little hook, grab behind him, and pop him off. That was nice and easy. And I'm going to put him right on the same pin. So I don't even have to be smart. I could just connect my wires. Here is this big black lead. Wow, what is this guy? He's kind of big. And looks like he's ground. Okay, so he goes right there. Then I've got this guy, pretty simple, straightforward. This blue one right here. This blue one goes to this after, it's not aftermarket. This is a factory recall board. And I'm gonna leave him unplugged because that's where the power comes in. Then I'm gonna take my, see, I just pried right off there. There you go. So some of these others, this one was pretty obvious, right? He was the electrode that starts my spark. He also senses the flame. There's the blue. Now when we're all done, we'll take some tie wraps and clean up some of this. Okay, at this point I want to take my meter. I want to verify I've got 12 volts in there before I apply 120. Wouldn't hurt anything to do it the other way, but it's just my brain likes to prove things as we go. So I'm going to put this in DC mode. What's Darren going to reference? Well, Darren's going to reference the same ground that the refrigerator is referencing. So I'll just check these fuses right here. There it is. Okay. So I've got my 13 volts. Good. And now let's plug in. Oh, you know what I forgot? Heating element. Okay, so we had pulled those out to get a reading on them. And I also wanted to look at them to make sure they're happy. They look pretty happy to me. I mean, I don't see any problems with them. This guy might have a bit of an issue. Nope, he's fine. He's just had dirt in him. Okay, so we're gonna move those out of the way. Towards the back, we're gonna come through here. Well, Darren, why'd you check your heating elements? Why'd you have to go through all this? Well, what if the heating elements were bad? They would have, and then I go ahead and put a new board on. That may have hurt my new board, wouldn't it have? So let's check what we can. And I just checked with the customer. In this instance, that old board did not have a cover on it. And so it's been exposed to moisture and road and anything else. So I don't have a cover, I checked. But that may have been what caused the problem, is there was no cover on that old board. So we're going to get a new cover for him and get it on there for him. He can put it on himself, but we'll ship it to him or whatever. But we got the part number for it right there. All right, and let's pull these little plugs off. There we go, just little caps, no big deal. I'm not getting the slack out of this that I want. Oh, it's a sticker that he's caught up on. There's a sticker, it's one of these little stickers that's being a jerk, and he's getting caught on that, so that should give us a lot more slack right there. There, that's what it was. Okay. Now you have a blinking light up there when I unplug that. Again, head to our website, myrubyworks.com, resources tab. You'll find the Norcold refrigerator section, and you're going to find a troubleshooting section. That's a fast red blink, so you're going to follow the A troubleshooting side of the deal. Basically, A is saying that he didn't detect this. So we'll plug them back in. And that fixed that problem. We're going to clean up all these wires, but I want to make sure this is working, and we have to tape this back up again. So we got our heating element back in. Well, that's the ice maker. There's that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run inside. I'm going to hit start on the refrigerator because certainly it didn't like having its brain ripped out. So I'm going to start the refrigerator, and then to prove that this thing's working, I'm going to read some amperage on these heating elements right here, okay? And then I'm going to do my test with unplugging and unplugging, so that's going to be the next step. Okay, so I just ran inside and hit the auto button. I turned on the refrigerator, made sure it was in auto mode, okay? So how do I know that this thing's working? Well, on my meter, I'll go to AC amp draw, okay? I'm going to read the amperage going through this meter, or through this wire. I'll pick the yellow one, okay? So I'm at 0, clamp around that wire, and there I got 1.9. Again, if we do Ohm's law, I wrote down my notes over here. 1.95 amps is the textbook perfect, and I got 1.91. So that heating element is happy. This yellow one, 1.92. So the heating elements are happy. Therefore, they're glowing, and they're going to get really hot, and the refrigerator's going to start getting cold. Now, here's the other test. If I unplug this, I should go to gas mode. So let's unplug this. Let's listen for a click and a flame. There's my click. Let's listen for a flame. Let's look for that. I hear the ticking. There we go. And if we look in there, we see a flame. So that's good. So we diagnosed it correctly. That's a wonderful thing. The refrigerator's working now, and it was because of this board. And if we want to zoom in a little closer here, right here, you can see some of that green corrosion stuff, and maybe a slight discoloration, not a major one, but I don't know what that thing does, but certainly a problem with this board. So we put the new board in, but how did we diagnose that? We proved that I had 120. We proved that the refrigerator wanted to be in cooling mode. We verified that 120 was not going through these, and the only place that path is broken is on that relay on the board right here. And then we tested it. Okay, well, so now we know it doesn't work on AC. Let's unplug this. Does it work on gas? And it did not switch over to gas. Also, right away, right out of the gate, as soon as we turn this refrigerator on, within 30 seconds, it would go to NoCo. Which normally NoCo, I've got another video, go look for my Norcold NoCo video. I go into more details on what that's all about. I won't waste your time here, just go look for that other video. And on that one, we did find something wrong with the refrigerator. So now when I plug this back in, the gas will extinguish and the AC will fire back up again. And we'll see that happen here. I'll just randomly grab this one right here and we'll go to AC. So get to where you can see that. It's gonna go to 0. So I'm gonna plug this back in. The gas is gonna extinguish and that's gonna turn on. Wait for it. And about now. Okay. So gas turned off, he's waiting, and then we're gonna hear another click and that'll go to 100, or it'll go to, what is it, 1.9. So there we go. So we can do this all day, it's kind of fun. So we now have a working refrigerator. And the only thing missing is we've got to put a cover on this. I want to clean up some of these wires, and I need to tape this up, and I'm going to use that HVAC foil tape. We're going to tape this back up. So let me pause for a little bit, and then let me get some of the stuff done, and then I'll show you the final finished product when we're all done. Okay, guys? So just hang with me. Let me get some of the stuff done, and then we'll finish up at the end. Okay, so as you see, we've taped all this up, and that is getting nice and hot, nice and toasty. We're making a distillery. We're distilling the water out of the ammonia in there. And we've tied up some of our wires, and it's making it a lot prettier. And so we still need to get a cover for this, but right now that refrigerator is working. So if this was helpful to you, give me a thumb up. That's just something simple you could do to say thanks. Subscribe to our channel if you like these videos, because I'm always on these service calls, and I'm always gonna be making videos of some stuff like this, kind of taking you along on my journey as I figure things out, helping you guys out. So subscribe to the channel, you'll get more stuff like this. Share it with some friends. And so yeah, if this was helpful, yay. And we have one more thing to say.
Happy campers, my RV works.
Yay! All right.
Say hi, lady.